Hello, everybody. It's Wayne here from E-Stim Systems, and this is the third time that I am attempting to go live. And hopefully everything is working because I've done the usual trick. 15 seconds before I go live, I start to press buttons. And hopefully you can all see me, and hopefully you can all hear me. If you can't hear me or you can't see me, then please say something. In fact, I'll comment on this so I can actually see comments. So I'm just going to carry on as if people can hear me and see me. If not, then I'll have to press a few buttons and start doing all this. But fingers crossed. Anyway, I need to have my little list now. It's been a rather busy month. We have literally just come back from a show in Germany. When I say literally, when we come back yesterday, we came back today. The man came back this morning because we had to drive all the kids over. And it's been a bit of a rushing around trying to get things back into storage, etc. But it's been a very interesting week. We were at Erofame in Hanover, which is a business-to-business show. So it's not a classic show. Woo, we can see and hear you. Thank you. Brilliant. Yeah, we were in Hanover, in Germany, which is a business-to-business show. So it's a trade show. Hopefully you've seen a couple of the videos that we posted about it, the setup, which wasn't too bad actually. We've got set up quite fine for two shows. We literally just rock up the van, unload the crates, and then spend 3 hours polishing it because the cabinets need to be polished and nice and clean. And then we had 3 days of the show, and then we have to do it in reverse, as well as jumping on aircraft to try and get back. And there is actually a plane that comes back from Hanover, which we openly call Hanover Express, because it has everyone in the UK who's been to Hanover. We all seem to pick the same seats, not the same seats. We pick our own seats, but we all get on the same plane, and it's quite good fun. And it was a very good show for us. It was great to see lots of people. It was great to see people who are our current stockists, and also we've picked up a few people who, hopefully, fingers crossed, will become new stockists. And one nice thing about Europe is it's relatively close to us, and we can get stock quite quickly. The problem is we have this thing called Brexit. Great, thank you, whoever voted for Brexit. And we have to get stuff through customs, etc. So we're moving towards more stores in Europe. One thing that allows is you to go to your local store and hopefully purchase our kit from people you already know. So it gives us a bit extra there, not just selling everything on the internet. You can still buy directly from us on the internet, but we like to have stores around Europe and in the US. But at the moment, we're talking about Europe. So watch this space. There are going to be a few new pieces appearing. Check the list. Bits and pieces appearing. Yeah. One slight little thing that went slightly wrong. And to back, if you watch the last stream, you might know that we were putting some machinery into the workshops. Now, E-Stim Systems, we build our own products in our own workshops. Everything you see behind me is manufactured on CNC machines in our workshop in sunny Watford. The problem is, after a while, you start to look and go, I need production capacity, I need to have new machines to do things faster and better, more facilities, and then you have to get those machines in. Yes, it was a bit of a squeeze. And then you realize that the machine is allegedly the same as the one you had before, but it isn't. So you then have to start going through code, recoding machines, and there's been a few delays, which is why some of our shipments have been a little bit delayed, only by a couple of days, but there have been delays. One of those days was manufacture of a product which we were planning to launch at Erofame. And we do have a policy that we do not launch anything unless we actually have stock or something on the shelves. And we couldn't launch it because we didn't have any stock of it. So those of you who are sitting there going, what's the new thing? What's the new thing? What's the new thing? Well, I'll tell you, I haven't launched it yet. Really sorry. The good news is it's imminent. I'm not telling you what it is, and I'm not going to be too precise on when it is. I think the next live stream we will actually be showing it to you, and hopefully by then it will be available. But it's purely and simply down to the fact that everything else has been so popular, we've been maxed out trying to get new machines in and running, and then get stock out to you and bring anything new in is a bit of a nightmare. And we go to shows, and then because I've got a bit of downtime, because I'm talking to customers, but we're also sitting around for a while, I then come up with a little black book, which is over there, and come up with even more designs. So we've got a packed list of things to do and a packed list of new ideas coming up. So stream is a bit laggy. There's not a lot I can do about that. Stream is a bit laggy. Let me have a look on, see what that is showing. The problem is, wonders of technology is good old YouTube. Bear with me, I'm pressing buttons, which is always a bad thing. Content, live. That's the current one. Details. I don't know why. I don't know what it's doing. Live stream. I'm just going to carry on because unfortunately there's not a lot I can do about good old eBay, not eBay, YouTube, in terms of how fast or how slow they're streaming it. Hopefully it'll rectify itself in a while. Fingers crossed is all I can say. Do my best. So what's next on this? So Erofame, yeah. Unfortunately, the new stuff didn't appear, which is a bit of a shame, but it is coming. New machines in. We're now back in the UK, and my laptop is now flashing at me in very strange ways. So I'm going to carry on. It could be technical. It could also be the fact my laptop's a bit old. Anyway, the other thing that we've missed mentioning is the fact that it's actually our birthday. We have been around for 20 years, which is quite an issue. 20 years doing E-Stim, when we thought we might sell a few boxes when we started. And 20 years later, we are now making quite a few boxes. And it's been fun. And it's been down to people like you who sit here listening to me driveling on about nothing. And hopefully we can carry on doing it. I'm just checking on my little list here. Now, one of the things we did promise on the last live stream was a bit of a backstream. Hello, Joe. It's rubbing onto from Stopcott. Audio is clearer now. Okay. Fingers crossed. I'm not going to touch anything. See, no, I've got a microphone up here and I have one up here. In fact, I'm going to switch the other microphone on as well. That might make a difference. Equally, it might go completely wrong. Anyway, one thing I did say in the last live stream, we're going to do a little bit of a backstage element here. So we're going to explain what we have in the studio. I know Stuntcock and Joanne are sitting there with their notepads out going, right, we're going to copy that. We're going to use that one. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that I am sitting here talking to a camera, which is mounted on a tripod directly in front of me. Beside that is something called the BTS camera, which if I press the button, you can now see the view from. Now, the BTS camera is just stuck off the side. It is actually a Blackmagic 4K with a very tiny little lens, and that gives you a bit of in the scenes view. But it doesn't give you as much view as you possibly like. You can actually see a big light here, which is, I can't remember what it is, Godox or something, but that's lighting me from this side, and you can just about see a camera over there, which is one of my B cameras. There we are. Hello, camera there. Now, this camera is a little bit special because it's mounted on a remote control. So I can actually do weird and wonderful things with it. Whee! It does move around when I do it, which is why I try and avoid moving it. And guess what? The other camera does the same thing. There we are, moves around. Going back to the main camera. Now, if you remember this. Now, this is our settee or sofa that we bought from Temmel. The two remote camera mounts also came from Temmel. And my assistant is also bringing something else, which we didn't buy this from Temmel, but we did buy. Most important thing for any studio is to have a banana. Except we're disappointed now because the lights, the eyes on our banana don't have flashes. So disappointed to that. But anyway, going back to cameras and things, I'm now gonna. This is the bit which hopefully is going to work. If I now switch that on, you should now see the view from a handheld camera. Now, this is actually a little M6 handheld thing, and in fact, oh, fingers crossed. I've broken it semi. There we are. Let's make that a bit tidier. There we are. So now we have the camera view of the M6. So we're talking about cameras here. So there's one hiding over there. There's the two main ones, and there's the other side one. Incidentally, we do actually, if I go up, we're actually in an office. This is normally an office. As you can see from the lovely lime walls. If I now go up, you'll see a camera up there and a microphone. Now, one thing I'm really disappointed in, we do not have a piece of wood holding our lights up or holding our microphones up. And I'm really disappointed that I think Joanne and Stuntcock, you've exceeded yourself because you have pieces of wood. We have that. And I know it looks a complete mess. It's basically a lighting stand with a couple of bars across and another lighting stand. And that's how we hold the microphones up. There's one microphone here, light. There we are. One microphone there, and then there's another microphone there. And then we've got an overhead camera. So if I switch the overhead view, well, that's the overhead camera that allows us to do overhead stuff. Back onto my little M6. In fact, back onto that way. I'm super stoked. So you can now see me and you can see the camera. Now, this is all controlled by a magical box of tricks, which for YouTubers and live streamers, these have been game changers. These are Blackmagic A10 switchers, and I've got one hiding here. This is the A10 switcher Extreme, I think it is. 8 channels, so I can have 8 channels controlling everything. There's audio as well. Everything runs off HDMI, and I'm also recording the stream there, so you can see the little red light goes onto a SSD drive. And then I have a laptop. Now, this is actually one of my old Macs. This is about 5 or 6 years old, this Mac now. But that basically has some control software on there. And it also has something called BitFocus, which allows me to create button things which control this. Yes, there is a big bit at the top that says, did you press record? Because last time I did a video from the studio, and we use this studio to do our normal videos of how we use products and things like that, I did a 20-minute video and forgot to press record. And pardon me, I did exactly the same thing in Germany. I did a walk around the show for about 5-10 minutes and forgot to press record. I don't know why, I just forgot. So I now put these little signs everywhere saying press record. So this little magic button allows me to flip between all of the cameras, and that's how it works. So basically, this is an office with a bunch of cameras set up. And yeah, you might notice in the background, if I zoom in, there is a bunch of Disney toys. Now, before anyone starts complaining that we are doing something strange and corrupting the children, no, we're not. But my guest happens to be a Disney fan, and we actually use this studio to do live streaming for Disney podcasts and things because we have other interests out there. Did you press right? What's the make of your cameras? Okay, this gets a little bit complex. The camera, the main camera is a Canon C100 Mark II, I think. So the one I'm currently looking at the moment is a Canon. My background back in my dark and distant past was actually press photography. Didn't ask me about what I did then, but I used to be a press photographer. So I tended to go for Canon kit. All my kit was Canon. So I ended up with a Canon C100. And that was the first camera we bought. The rest of them, we started to move over to Blackmagic. So one of the reasons is they work. The quality is outstanding. They work really well with the kit that we use, and they're relatively cheap, especially if you're buying them secondhand, which is what I'm doing. there's a couple of companies out there which will actually sell second-hand cameras, which they'll guarantee, they've checked, they give you warranty, and they're quite reasonable in price. So we have a Blackmagic 4K, a Blackmagic 6K, and a Blackmagic 6K Pro. And then we've got my little personal camera, which is the M6, which is this one here. And actually this one up here, the one up in the height, is a Blackmagic studio camera, which actually is a little bit harder to use because we have to add in extra bits of wiring. So there's a SDI to HDMI box sitting there and a few extra wires. Yeah, once you bought into one collection, it just makes sense to stay with the same collection. And the simple answer is yes, completely agree. I've gone from, I mean, I used Nikon a couple of times when I first started as a photographer, but since then I've always used Canon, and we have Canon lenses all over the place. In fact, go back to that. Superb. So you've seen all this bit. Yeah, that's the sound deadening blanket. The audio we run through a Rodecaster Pro, which we actually also use for doing some of our podcasts. If anyone hasn't heard about our podcasts, Spotify, Apple, I make sex toys. And in fact, if I go into that one and then press that one, I make sex toys. Yeah, I run a podcast called I Make Sex Toys. Apple and Spotify, just type in I Make Sex Toys and you'll find us. And it's actually good fun. And lots of people have been chatting to us. But now it's actually broken my little display system. Someone's probably sitting there laughing and going, haha, told you. Perfect. So go back to there. So I now have a shelf of stuff. So a couple of old cameras, some boxes up there. There's a light up there as well. And there's a few stuff for these. And down here is an old audio box I don't use. And there's a Blackmagic Hyperdeck, which plays some of the videos. Let's go back to that thing. And there's also other bits and pieces. Yeah, you don't want to look at the floor. Cable management is not something I'm very good at, so I'm going to chop that up. So that is a very brief description of, actually, there's one bit that I haven't shown. Going back to there. And that's my desk over there. And there's the edge. I'm not going to tell you who the guest is yet. But somebody's probably a guess. But that's basically the studio. Now, we created a studio quite a while ago, but just didn't really use it because it's just one of those things you just don't get around to using it. But the benefits of having a studio means we can literally come in here and in 20 minutes we're ready to shoot. When we shot some of our early videos, it would take us 3 or 4 hours to clear up enough space to actually create a reasonable background and then actually then record the video. Now with the studio, you can literally come in, shoot the video, take it home on an SSD and do the edits at home. I mean, I sometimes edit here, but it just gives you more, it's more convenient. And you'll find that a lot of people who do YouTube, they move from not having a studio to at least creating a tiny little space. You'll notice also a couple of our smaller videos. When I say smaller videos, the sort of the shorts and the vertical stuff, just has a red background behind me, and that's actually shot in the corner of my bedroom with a tiny little 4K webcam, and he's sort of sitting there like this with a couple of lights. So you don't need to have large amounts of kit to produce videos. It just makes it a bit easier, and hopefully it works most of the time. A couple of other bits we have. IKEA cabinets behind us. I think virtually every home studio in the world has IKEA cabinets. We have an on-air sign, which was Mankind. And we also have a nice little lumetri clock, which I've just got working. So this actually flashes up how many followers, subscribers, etc. we have on the various bits and pieces. And also being every so often when somebody subscribes. So don't forget, if you want to subscribe, but please consider subscribing to the channel. Then you might see that number up there increase. There's also Facebook, Instagram, and all the other bits and pieces that we sit around on. But anyway, that's the studio. Now we're going to get on to the guest. Now, I admit, I tried to get somebody else. I tried to get a guest that I've been after for quite a while, and she wasn't available this week, so I had to get someone else who actually is key to the company in so much that if it wasn't for this person, E-Stim Systems wouldn't be doing what they do now, and probably wouldn't even started because I would have just gone off and found something else. So I'm going to drag them in, and I'm going to have to shift this way because I need to create some space.
It's a little one.
It's a little one.
It's a little one. It's a little me.
It's a little me. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Kaz, who's also known as Wifey because she does actually happen to be the wife.
I'm also known as Voltiana.
And she's also known as Voltiana. So when you see comments coming up, it's oh look, we got comments. No
comments.
Kren, no such thing as to get too much gadgets.
Yes, there is.
Too
many gadgets.
Kren doesn't make eye contact with servers, switches, NAS, UPS, spare PC, guest PC, backup NAS, tape drive. We'll at some point in time, I'll probably do a live stream from the workshops and the office because we do actually have some servers that we no longer use. I think they're Dell's DL360s, which we used to use in the office, but they got cold. I got told they were too noisy. And there is a tape drive in there, and there's several NASs, and there's an awful lot of networking kit that we no longer use because we just don't use it anymore.
Yep.
So yeah, you can never have too many gadgets.
No.
Gadgets and gizmos. I have my buttons here. And Cass has everything else.
I have a sofa.
Yeah, you have a sofa. You like your sofa. So anyway, this is Wifey.
Yes, I'm Wifey.
Wifey's been around for a while in terms of E-Stim Systems because she sort of appeared at roughly the same point E-Stim Systems appeared.
I think so.
Because we first met on your birthday, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20 years ago on my birthday.
That's scary.
It's very scary.
And okay, I've got some questions for her.
Oh dear.
I didn't really tell her about this. I just sort of said, "You're coming on today," and she was like, "No."
Bear with me if I waffle.
Bear with you. I'll just cut you off. Incidentally, Wifey does Disney podcasts and YouTube, so we'll put the links up there, and you can go and
hence all the Disney stuff in the corner of the
we're the only E-Stim company in the world that has stitches dotted all over the office. Just because you can never have too many stitches. Anyway, so one of the reasons I actually brought Kaz on, apart from the fact that I wanted to talk to someone for the next 20 minutes or so, was actually based on a couple of comments that were made at the Erofame show. And there are also comments that have been made overall. And a lot of people seem to think that E-Stim is just for men. It is a very masculine hobby. I mean, let's face it. This
scares the crap out of me.
Should exist in a gym somewhere. But men tend to be much more external in their sensations. So sticking E-Stim electrodes all over ourselves is quite easy until you start sticking things inside, and then it's even more interesting. But a lot of people assume that E-Stim is male orientated, and the honest answer is it isn't, is it?
It certainly is not male orientated. From a female perspective, it can be quite nice.
Quite nice.
Yeah, just a little bit nice. Hence the Mona, which I happen to name.
Yes, do we have a Mona here?
Yes, we do. It's behind you.
It's always worrying when someone says, "There's Mona," and there's a bobble. That's your Mona.
That's my Mona. One of my favourites.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone can hear you.
Because, well, as the name says, it's a Mona.
Yeah, we did actually change the name of the Mona because when we first created it, it was Mona as in the girl's name. And
no, it was oh my beep 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 God.
Yeah, it was that. It was Mona as in a girl's name, and then a couple of stores actually said we can't sell it. Why? Well, because we can't sell a girl's name electrode in a gay store. Okay, so we changed the name. So it's Mona as in moaning, and that's the history of the Mona. And Mona is, I would say
Yeah, I think it is our most
it's
popular.
our most popular electrode. It's one of those, depending on which day you look, it's either going to be this, or it's going to be the MJ, or it's going to be the flange. But generally, the Mona is the most popular electrode. Nice flange base, so it doesn't get stuffed in too far, and quite a nice separation between the head and the base, so you get quite a nice sensation over a reasonable area. So if you,
It's nice little bits outside as well.
and it stimulates nice little bits outside.
Well, it depends on the graphic you think to go.
Oh, we've got new comments. Dell PC from hell. Yeah, I completely agree. If anyone wants a DL360, or at least two of them, just give me a shout and you can get down to Watford. You can have them because they're just in the corner. I think they get used for, there's a printer on top of them at the moment. But anyway, yeah. Joanne, it's my favorite electrode. So yeah.
It's definitely one of my favorites as well. That with a flange and a sticky pad on triphase on a pebble. Yep.
Who's sitting there going, can I have a go now? No.
Yeah.
And then we've got the bobble.
My infamous design. I actually designed this one because I was getting bored of having all the electrodes with the spacers being at the bottom. It's like, that's great, but sometimes you want something a little bit different. So one night, in my wisdom, we're sitting talking about designs, and I came up with the design for the bobble because I just wanted something that went a little bit further internally, but also gave the bipolar contact inside as well as outside. And yeah, that's how the bobble design came up. And also because of the shape, from a lady's point of view, it's good for, dare I say it, the lady's pelvic floor, because when ladies get to a certain age, their pelvic floors become not so pelvic. And yeah, it's just a really good one for ladies, and it is one of the favourite ones. And of course, it has to have a coloured neck. It wasn't to be a bog standard boring black; it had to be coloured as well.
Yeah, we won't mention the fact that red plastic is probably the most expensive plastic on the planet. It's like, it's red, and when you speak to the plastics manufacturers, they're like, we do black, yeah, but we want red, and they're like, oh, okay.
Well, I did initially want bright pink, but that was one of the cases of, well, we can get you one size, but they would give you a piece of plastic that wide to do something that's about.
Yeah, it was a bit of a waste.
It was a bit of a waste of material. So.
Kren, if they're DL, yeah, Kren, you're right. They're HP. They're DL360s. But yeah, if you want them, just give me a shout.
Please, we get the rubbish.
I don't think they've been turned on for a while. But anyway, Joe likes that and the large flow.
The large flow is okay, but I find it doesn't stay in with me.
Does it get a bit juicy?
Yeah, it gets a bit moist.
I think that's the point where YouTube are now going to chuck us into the naughty corner.
Yes. Naughty corner, naughty step. Sorry, YouTube.
Roy Hat, sorry I'm late. Well, Roy, you're going to have to go and stand in the naughty corner. I mean, Joanne is already in there with
I'm sure, Roy, that Joanne's got some spikes waiting for you in the naughty corner.
No, you have to mention spikes. I wanted to do a live stream with no mention of spikes.
I want spikes.
No. What is it? Here's a question for you. For those of you who've got partners, why have they got obsession with spikes? Joanne has an obsession with spikes. You've got an obsession with spikes. I
should have built my spiky pinball.
I'm saying nothing.
And now he goes quiet.
I'm going very, very quiet. What's your favourite box?
Favourite box initially was the series one, that was the first one that I sort of helped you sort of develop in a way, because you had the basic idea, and then we sort of added bits and pieces, including that lovely fire button. You quite like the remote control. Especially, there is a story on the remote control, and I will diverge this story of being dressed like a bunny doing a range test. So when we say our remote's got a range of 50 meters, trust me, it is 50 meters. How do I know that? Because he had me hopping across a field dressed as a bunny rabbit. So yes, that does work.
What's wrong with that?
And then the pebble, because I do like some of the modes on the pebble, and having the two outputs and having a bit more control. And as I mentioned, the pebble with the triphase is definitely like, yeah.
I'm not mentioning the remote.
No. Was it the A box? The one we sang happy birthday to you with?
Oh dear, are you going to tell that story now? All right, you can tell the
and when we
story.
were
The A
developing
box.
the A box, we had gone to an event with some of our little boxes of fun. I had this one wired up to an A box, and it happened to be his birthday. He had electrodes in interesting locations, as you put on a man, and the whole room sang happy birthday to him and gave him 3 cheers rather loudly. He felt every single one of them.
I did. Joanne says she's getting the spikes ready.
Good. Can I have some in my direction, please?
I'm just not saying anything. Testing is good, right? We love testing. What about the lips? What's you making for that?
Well, for the lips for the ladies, the flange electrodes, that wider base, does actually sit on the lips quite nicely. And depending on how you position it, it can sort of hit also that elusive little. Can I say the C word?
You can say what you like.
It does actually hit on some ladies. It does actually hit the head of the clitoris. So if it's in the right location, it's just right. But also, from a lady's point of view, 2 sticky pads either side of the clitoris works really well. Sticky pads combined with an insertable, that is quite a very nice sensation, especially if you've got it on a wavy format. And also a sticky pad as one contact on triphase, head of electrode in the front hole, and then head of electrode down the back on triphase. Again, that is really nice.
That just gets like, okay, someone's getting that. I must say, one thing that a lot of people ignore is sticky pads. Sticky pads are probably the most versatile electrode you can get, especially because they tend to stick to virtually anything. I mean, if you've got a bit of hair around, maybe trim it up and shake it a little bit, because yeah, they do stick and they will pull hairs out potentially. we did have the infamous, I managed to stick a sticky pad to the cat.
It wasn't attached. I will point out it wasn't attached to anything.
Yes.
The cat sort of sat down, and we'd forgotten to put the pads back onto a carrier sheet, and the cat sort of came up for a cuddle. And then the next is a cat.
There's a cat with a little pad and a little wire hanging. Yeah,
little cat.
Interesting.
So, but anyone who contacts the company by the telephone, you'll either get one of our colleagues, Kay, or you'll get myself. Now, I've had some very interesting conversations with customers.
I'm not sure we need to publish this one.
I'm not going to go too graphic on some of the conversations that we have had. You do get the gentleman, not a little man, a gentleman phoning up, normally of the older persuasion, and when they realise that they're talking to a lady on the telephone, you do get the I wish to talk about them. And they do get tongue-tied, and it's only when I sort of present their ears and go, it's okay, so you want to stimulate your genitals? Yes, this is the box for you. No, it won't hurt. Yes, it will give you pleasure. And it's, okay, then can I order, please? And then I do get the odd conversation where it does get the yes, mistress, whatever you say, mistress. Oh, yes, mistress. I really like you, mistress. Oh, mistress, say it again. And it's just like, it's
the point when they turn around and say, would you like me to put it in now? You start to go, this is not only fans. Thank you very much. Maybe call us back later.
So I don't know if Joe ever has customers that sort of send graphic emails and that, but I've had a few graphic conversations with people on the phone, and it does get a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's what we do for business. Yeah. So we're quite happy to talk to people. Sometimes the issue is actually they're in their own offices and they don't really want to say certain words because people might hear, which is perfectly understandable. We're quite happy to work around the questions in any way people wish. Or just send us an email and be as graphic as you like. We have a number of customers who send us emails with them demonstrating how they use our electrodes. There is still the picture of the decimator
Danny,
in use.
We've actually had pictures of this in use.
Yes, it was interesting.
Danny asked how many of the big ones we did. I did mention more than you realise. But yes,
yeah. When I get engineering going, we're making more decimators. It's like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And the decimator was something that we made initially actually as a joke. You go into stores and there's a banana. You go into
He's over
stores
there trying
and
to
they
get
have
money.
large things, like we have our large banana, which is currently asleep.
I think he's drunk.
He's probably drunk, but companies build larger versions of what they do just as display pieces, and we did that with the decimator. Unfortunately, people kept buying it, and it was like, we'll just make some more
I
then.
remember the first time we put it on display at Erotica back when Erotica run, and this guy walked past and went, "Ooh!" And he walked past again and went, "Ooh!" And he walked past again. He went, "How much?"
We were like, I can't remember. In fact, I don't know, because I never really decided to sell it, but we gave him a price, and he found that was quite reasonable. And yeah, that was the first one. And now there's probably quite a few professional dominatrix out there who've got them in their studios just to scare the subs. If you don't do as you're told, that is going up there, and that poor little sub sitting there going, "No."
It's whatever you say.
Oh, and you think just not that. But so, do you think the Mona is the best electrode for a woman to start with?
For a starting point for a woman, bear in mind, I initially started with a little white plastic.
That was the very probe.
Yeah, little white plastic thing, very probe. I don't think we've got one now.
The very probes were about this big. They were actually a medical electrode.
A bit of history. I actually was experimenting with this before I met Wayne, and I had a TENS machine and a little white plastic electrode. And I just found the TENS machine just didn't have the oomph.
So we created the Series 1. We should have a Series 1 over here, but we don't.
No, I think we'll get one out the
We'll
other side. But yeah, I used to have a little white electrode, and then we came up with the flange. And that was a nice starting point behind you. You have the flange, which is the baby brother of the Mona, or the baby sister of the Mona. But it was nice, but for me, it just needed something just a little bit bigger.
Pass me the remote.
Which is why we then went up for the Mona. So, but not until beginner one for the lady is Mr. Flangy.
Your hands keep moving.
There's my flange, because it's got that base at the bottom, and as I've mentioned, this bit, when it's inserted, it does sit quite snugly, and it can hit the clitoris, and it just gives you that internal and external. And yeah, when in the right mode, it feels like it's doing that inside you, which can be quite fun as well.
That's the flange.
That's the flange.
My easy camera thing stopped working at that point.
Has it stopped working? Is it whizzed?
I had an extra bit on my camera that would zoom in and zoom out, but it's not working.
Battery's gone flat. It must be a rechargeable battery. Must be a rechargeable battery. I don't like rechargeable batteries. They go flat. No, it's definitely gone flat. But yeah, if anyone's watching this and wants a female perspective on E-Stim, please drop us a message, drop us a line, and I will happily go through where to start. And from a couple's point of view, now this is another area that I get asked and I deal with on a regular basis, is you get the gentleman from the couple emails saying, me and my partner wants to start, what's a good point for her to, what should I get for her to start with? We do intro kits, which are great fun. But one thing I will say is when you get your kit, please don't tell her, oh yes, you're going to love this, darling. Pop it all in and wank up the point. Ramp up the point.
Wank up the point.
I said,
it said the W word.
Yeah. And then basically crank up the power to full output, because she'll turn around and go, not on your, and that's it, you're not play with it again.
She'll be stuck to the ceiling.
She'll be stuck to the ceiling and you'll be sleeping on the sofa. So my advice would be, if you are going to get this, introduce it to your partner, regardless male, female, let them have the box to themselves and let them have a little bit of me time to discover what they do and don't like, and then they can feed back to you that's okay on the, so for me on the pebble, okay on the pebble, I like it in flow, but I like A at 40% and I like B at 30%. Just let them do the feedback. That is a real good beginner's tip, because you want to enjoy this. You're investing money in these products. You want to enjoy the products, but you also want to enjoy them with your partners. And if you get the right combination and you communicate, it can work well. And of course, you dress them as a bunny rabbit.
I didn't dress you as a bunny rabbit. You did that. That was the nature of the party.
Yeah, it's a party.
So if anyone actually has any questions in relation to the female perspective of E-Stim, then Kaz is still here, so you can sort of talk to her now. But we are going to do some videos about the female side of things, and Joanne, we're probably going to have a chat to as well, because why not?
And Subar.
And Subar, because there is that whole element of us men have a particular viewpoint of the way everything works.
It's not a man's world.
It's not a man's world. It's everyone's world. And it's
men like things that go buzz. Ladies like things that make you go, ooh.
That's one way of describing it.
Yeah, exactly. So
you realise you've virtually covered everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's on your list.
You didn't even know what's on my list. I do. There are a few other bits and pieces on my list. One of which someone asked last week and said, basically, how do you develop new products? And initially, I was going to do a little bit in here and sort of go through how we develop products and how we create new ideas and go through that whole process. But I'm actually going to do a whole video on it because it is actually really, really complex, and there's lots of little bits and pieces that we do. Although one thing that did appear,
what have you lost? The prototype.
The prototype.
Oh, the prototype. Is it triple?
So we have the triple, and triple there, and then switch to that camera there. Look, we're getting high tech here, switching cameras. So this is the triple design. The first prototype of the triple is actually that. Doesn't look anything like what it actually is, or what it ended up being, but that is basically how we created the first physical prototype of a triple. No, this one has never actually been inserted into anyone. That was the next one because it had a nice curved top and didn't have holes in the top. But this was almost a proof of concept to see if it was possible to create something, possible to do the engineering. And the answer is it was. And the triple is now officially the fastest selling E-Stim electrode we have ever created. We're just manufacturing them daily, and they're going out. As soon as more stock gets on the shelf, more stock goes out the door, which is great. Roy has a very valid point. First time better to let the partner take control on their own as they try it out. Completely agree, Roy. The only thing I would say is if they're controlling it and they're wiring it to you, that's always interesting.
Just listen to the feedback. If it's in that situation where you're in control, say nothing to that one, shall we?
I'm not saying anything.
Just listen to the feedback unless they've got a gag in their mouth.
Yeah. Although the worst time for developing, and particularly on power boxes, is there are times when I'm writing code and I'm testing the box and the code goes wrong. And it's like it happens. It doesn't happen that often because I'm a little bit more practiced.
That we are just human. We're not just buying.
I am not human. Oh, I can do that.
No. Do not press the button.
She won't let me press the magic button.
Do not press the button. Say that for the podcast. Let's shape it.
We've got Toothless Easter Nerd. Yeah, I'd love to see the video of the design process. It's planned.
It's coming.
It's coming. The problem is I'm spending more time designing them and building them than it is actually videoing them. But
we've had some interesting conversations this week.
Yes, there have been some new ideas have cropped up.
And there's been some odd things that we've seen at Erofame as well.
Yes, when you wander around other stands. And one of my pet hates in the industry is the way that companies will farm out their production into China. Because one of the issues is you'll suddenly see your production appear on somebody else's website because the Chinese have copied it. And there were a number of stands which were basically Chinese manufacturers doing the, I make that one for you exclusively. And they'll offer the same product to somebody else. And you look at it and go, that's very much like a Satisfyer or a Layla. It is. They've got it. And yeah, you see boys sometimes walk around with the cease and desist letters. So you must take those down. And we did see one stand once completely closed down.
Well, there's a stand this time it was all taped off and stripped bare. So I don't even think they made past the setup process.
I don't think they passed the setup on that. Yeah. Joanne says we can't get hold of triples fast enough. They are amazing. Yep, I completely agree.
The answer is, Joanne, order more.
Yeah, just order more. As soon as they're ordered, they'll get on.
I would just go and wire up engineering to the remote.
That could be
make me some more triples.
Yes.
Make me some more triples.
What do you need today? Triples. The good news is, with the new machinery that we put in place, things are improving. We were actually working this weekend. Well, I was in yesterday.
I was unpacking.
Whilst you were unpacking, and yeah, we're translating the stuff over across the new machines, which will give us probably a 40% increase in terms of manufacturing capacity, and things they're faster. We have a hello there from Dutch Guy.
Hello, Dutch Guy.
Hello, Dutch Guy. We're coming to see you next year because Erofame next year is actually going to be held in Amsterdam.
Oh, is it Amsterdam?
Yes, we were going for Amsterdam and stroopwafels. We like stroopwafels.
But yeah, we're going to be
I think from the last trip.
Next year, Eurofame is in the right Amsterdam, so it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it is.
And of course, we're back in sunny Barcelona.
Yeah, doing a show in Barcelona. And we're also doing a show in the US.
Yeah, back to America.
Burbank. Strange enough, we were actually chatting to one of the guys who now runs ETO magazine. ETO magazine is a trade magazine for the UK, although they're actually expanding to Europe, and it's a fantastic magazine. If you're in the industry and you're interested in what's going on, go and log into their website. It's erotic trade only, and get yourself a copy of the magazine. I think it comes out 6 times a year.
At the moment, it's quarterly.
It's quarterly.
They're talking about going up to bi-monthly, but it's a really good magazine.
It's a really good magazine, but we were talking about the lack of shows in the UK. One of the problems is the sheer cost of doing a show. Unfortunately, when you go to somewhere like the NEC, they're going to want large sums of money to put on a show. And the minute you say it's an adult show, that large sum of money gets even larger because they think that something dodgy is going on. You guys have a bad connection. There's not. The only thing I can do is look to see what's the end.
Yeah, we are jumpy a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's actually my laptop.
No, I had that on my phone as well.
Right. What are we getting? I don't know.
Can you hear us now?
Is there anybody out there to? I don't know why it's doing that actually. The good news is this has all been recorded, so we're going to re-edit this, clear up all the rubbish bits, and then cut them out. We'll see what's happening with the jumpy connection. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that I don't actually have any control over it.
Maybe Starlink's not over.
We don't use Starlink. But yeah, I'm seeing a bit of jumping on some of the channels actually. If I go to that one,
One sec.
Is that jumping?
He was fiddling right up until he went live, so we shall see.
But anyway, everyone's talking about stroopwafels now.
Nice. Nothing like a stroopwafel.
I don't know what's going on with this.
Trying to read the comments.
Trying to read the comments. We normally go to the Netherlands every year and normally bring back about 1 kilo of them. Stompcock is outside playing with his violet wand. Yeah, Stompcock, can you stop playing with the violet wand, please? I don't know what's not working, but it's one of those techie things that probably somewhere.
It's our term for the tech bug.
Yeah, it's our term for the tech bug.
Must be the minions. I know what it is.
Anyway.
I know what the minions need.
I thought it was just audio, but the whole feed is a little bit off, but understandable. Yeah. Toothless nerd outside. You were just throwing things around now.
I mean, just need the banana.
Yeah. Toothless nerd, we'll give you your banana back if you stop doing it. Anyway, I think we're going to stop because it is getting a little bit jerky and bumpy. Zap, zap, zap. Yeah. Maybe loose cable. The problem with the loose cable, I'll switch back to my BTS camera if it works. Give me my camera. Hello, there we are. the problem we've got with cables. So here's the laptop. So as you can see, one laptop. Strangely enough, isn't jumping around a little bit. And now when you look at the cables, that's how many cables we have to deal with. And yes, the red one actually isn't a cable that we actually use. So I don't know what's happening on that one. It could be a case of we've got an issue this end, or it could be a case of we have an issue on the system going up to StreamYard. Who knows? I will analyze it and have a look, and hopefully.
I said the naughty word. That's it.
Yeah, it was cast the naughty word, and YouTube have found out.
Yeah.
So next time we might actually try something a bit different and use the direct to YouTube feed. So let's see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to try pressing another button. No, that's the boring one.
That's the subscribe.
Yeah, ready for this one? I got a hyperdeck to work. What's the difference between the 2mm and the 4mm cable for the eBox 2B? More sensate. Do you mean the cable or do you mean the loops? Do we have some loops floating around?
Here's one I made earlier.
That's 4mm.
Yep.
So if you mean the cables, the only difference on them is the size of the plug, and there's only a couple of things that actually require a 2mm cable. So you're looking at 2mm loops, and you're also looking at the sticky pads. Everything else is 4mm. So these are 4mm conductive rubber loops. These will use a 4mm plug, 4mm cable. 2mm ones are a little bit thinner. In terms of the sensation on the loops, the 2mm tend to be a tiny little bit sharper. Yeah, it was loops. So yeah, they tend to be a little bit sharper.
It's more to do with the contact area because the 2mm are quite thin. They are a bit. They can be more intense.
Yeah, so that's the difference. The 2mm a little bit sharper. 4mm slightly more contact area. You can sort of get around it by putting in some bit more conductive gel and try and smooth it out. But that's the main difference between the two. Why do we do two different ones? Well, because we do 2mm cables for sticky pads, and all of our units have sticky pads in them. You have that element of we need to put those in order to use them for sticky pads, and then we wanted something that was simple to use, so we had the 2mm conductive rubber. And it is bouncing around, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely bouncing.
It's definitely bouncing, and I don't know why it's bouncing. I will have to investigate this one and whinge at a few people. Anyway, hopefully it's been entertaining. Hopefully we've managed to answer a few questions. We are going to do some extra videos, so we're going to do a video on how we actually do design process and going through prototypes and things like that. Kaz is going to be doing some videos talking about the female perspective.
Now you tell me.
Yeah, but it's
I've got enough to do.
And we're probably going to be talking to good old banana person behind us.
I reckon banana drops my lashes.
Yeah. You don't know, doesn't he get eyelashes? Anyway, the next live stream, it will be the end of next month.
End of October.
End of October. So last Sunday of the month at 5 p.m. And fingers crossed there will be some news on that one. I hope. Thanks very much. Really enjoyed it once again. Thank you, David. This is the reason why we do this. Well, that and the fact that we watch Joanne and just see how much fun they enjoy it and go, we must do it. Apologies for the quality of the video. I will do an edited version. Hopefully I've got the local recording so I can do a clean version that isn't jumping around. And
just edit me out.
I won't edit you out. No, I'll just put pixelated face. You could be the pixelated SBS person.
I'll be a banana.
You could be a banana. Yeah, we'll pixelate your banana. But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you for Joanne and Stuntcock and Subart, because they're the ones who inspire us to do this. And don't forget, they do a live stream every single week.
Although we did give you a week off this week.
Although we did give them a week off because they were going to do a live stream yesterday, and then we pointed out we were doing a live stream today. Therefore, they said, "Oh, we're not going to do live stream yesterday." Which is, thank you very much.
We're giving you a week off, guys.
So we probably actually got some of their Yeah, great. Thank you. But yeah, they'll be back next week, hopefully, and we will be watching. And no, we won't be sitting in a swimming pool somewhere
Drinking cocktails,
drinking
watching
cocktails.
dolphins.
We'll probably be in here actually, because we'll be prepping some other bits and pieces. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you, Kren. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everyone, for listening and putting up with the jerky bits. I am intrigued now as to what was going on.
We just got Tourette's.
Yeah, my computer has Tourette's. That's sorry if anyone does have Tourette's.
Up and on drunk again.
Anyway, thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, and whatever you do, please be safe. And hopefully, I'm going to press a button now, and this is going to happen.